Okay, so let's talk about branding. I guess branding is wrong. Signing, attributing work to yourself more than branding, I guess. How's down, everybody? It's me, Gazbot. Here's the impetus for this. I historically have not been the best at signing my work, at branding myself with my name versus a screen name, an alias, something like that, and I haven't been the worst. I've seen other people do much worse, and that's kind of where I'm getting at. Lately, meaning the last few years, I've tried to consolidate all my social media to be Gazbot. That is, my name is Gaz. I go by Gazbot. That's my artist name. And it's been difficult because some of those names were taken. One of them is Gazbot with two T's. One of them's like the real Gazbot. The rest are all Gazbot as best I could manage. And some people might not be able to do that, but I feel like some people don't even try. For example, there might be an artist, whatever their real name is, or even whatever their artist name is. They might be, let's say their name is Mike and their artist name is Angel One. Fine, they're deciding to be called Angel One. But then their Instagram might be like, Mike Schmidt. Let's say their last name is Schmidt. Schmidt's Designs. So they go by Angel One. Their first name is Mike, but that's Schmidt's Designs. But then on YouTube, they're like, Tiamat 7. Because at one point they put, and so it's like all disparate and don't match, and some don't even identify their actual name or their artist name or their studio name. And any pseudonym is fine. You could call yourself Schmidt Studio. You can call yourself Angel One. These are just names I'm making up. These are not real people. But you need to be consistent. Why am I getting on this? Well, partially to remind myself, because this is something I've gotten better at. But the impetus for this video is a mistake I made. Now, you may or may not know, I'm an artist, obviously, and I self-published my own comic, The Horror A4. It's a kaiju comic. Now, this isn't a commercial for it. There's a reason I'm bringing this up. This is issue 3, which I kickstarted the end of last year, 2025, successfully. And for the first time, other than a letterer, because I've had letterers be involved before, I decided to have variant covers done. I had 2 done. One by Frankie B. Washington and one by Kevin Schmidt. Oh, that's probably why that last name was in my head. Here's the mistake I made. If you look on the credits page, I do credit my letterer, Dave Major, and I credit myself, of course. What I didn't do was credit variant covers. Now, in this one, it doesn't matter because it's my art. But because I didn't make, a credit page that said a variant cover A and B or whatever, I would have then had to credit the cover artist, but I did not. So this is Kevin Schmidt's art. He's a talented artist. He mostly does oil painting. He did this painting of boots for me. For this cover, and I did not credit him. Frankie B. Washington, same problem. I contacted both of them. I apologized. I said it was my mistake. I've never had another artist's work on the front or whatever where I had to credit them, and it slipped my mind, and I'm sorry. They were both very gracious about it. And I said, if I do reprints, I will make sure to credit you properly. So that's my mistake. Here's the difference, and actually I don't have one handy, but I'll put it up over here. This is the Frankie B. Washington cover. Now he did the pencils and inks and I did the color, but that doesn't matter. I don't know why I felt the need to point that out. But if you notice, and maybe I could zoom in here, he had his signature there. It's not perfect, it'd still be better if he had a credit, but if someone was familiar with his work, they could see that, or they could look it up and kind of figure out who he is, despite my mistake. But when you look at Kevin's, I'll save you the trouble, it's not signed, because Kevin traditionally doesn't sign his work. Now, I don't know if I can't say for 100% certain that he's never signed his work. I've known Kevin for years. He's one of my best friends. I know him because we used to work at Six Flags together doing caricatures. We lived together, we did improv. The point is we're friends. And we've collaborated a little bit before, never on this scale, artistically I mean, but at Six Flags we do caricatures and typically people would sign their caricatures. Some people did, some people didn't, sometimes you'd forget, whatever. Kevin made a point of never signing his caricatures. That was like his thing. He's like, I'm not signing this. And I always thought that was kind of cool. And A, because he was so detached seemingly from his art, whereas a lot of us are so precious with it. But also because, and I want to be clear here, this is not a slight to caricature artists. I was a caricature artist for many years. I still do it on occasion. And they're very serious caricature artists that create amazing art and likenesses. But what we were doing was like the fast food of caricature. And we were just like getting it out as quick as we could at the theme park. And there was an element of not having a lot of pride in what we were doing. It was more like, well, I'm making a living as an artist, and so that's cool. But this isn't something I'm super proud of. At least, and I might be putting words in his mouth, but this is the vibe I had, that he's like, I don't want to be associated with this. This is not who I am. This is not representative of my true art. And again, I might be putting layers on it. And if Kevin, you ever watch this, feel free to correct me. But I understood that. And I don't know if I stopped signing or I signed less, but I definitely didn't make such a point of signing my caricatures. And that carried over a little where sometimes I wouldn't sign other things. Whereas previously it was like, when you're a kid, like sign everything. Oh, you're going to be famous and rich one day. My family was very supportive in that way and unrealistic. And so at some point I didn't sign a lot of stuff, including prints. And so I'd have these prints that I sell that don't have my name on them, but people are buying them from me or whatever. And I'm like, well, I want to be able to find me. So I used to take my prints. I would have it where on the back, it would say my name and my social media and stuff. And I'd pay extra for that. And it wouldn't be on the front, and I present them this way, and a lot of times people would take this and hang it up. So if somebody wanted to know who I was, or if it was a gift, or they forgot who they bought it from, or whatever, they'd have to take it out of a frame, take it out of this, flip it over, and look for it, which isn't super convenient. And also huge artists of all kinds, painters, sculptors, comic book artists, whatever, sign their work. And so you could know it's them. And so I realized if I start signing my work, people could find it easier. And I guess there was also an element of like, oh, it's gonna like ruin the layout of the design or whatever, but like I would choose a color that would fit. Okay, so this is a Godzilla print I did. And my worry is that by putting my name somewhere on here, it would mess it up. But what I did was, right there, it's backwards, I know, but I wrote Gazbot and it's an orange that kind of fits the orange light. And I lowered the opacity by 50% so some of the color bleeds through. Now you don't even have to do it that way. You could have a big bold thing, whatever. But that was my compromise, that I would put it on, but it wouldn't affect the art, hopefully. And I stopped printing on the back. And so the idea is I'm saving myself money. And if somebody wants to find me, it has Gazbot on the front. And if you look up Gazbot online, or if you look up Gazbot art or comic art or Godzilla, whatever, you will find me. You might not find every social media because some of them are slightly off, but you can find me. And this is another thing. For a while I was signing it Gaz, but I realized, well, my branding is Gazbot, so that makes more sense. Going forward, everything I sign Gazbot. And what I try to do is if I have prints that I reprint, some prints I run out and then they're just done. Some I do a limited edition, but most of my prints are like, if they're selling, I'll print them again. And what I've been trying to do is go in and add my signature to ones that previously didn't have it. So where I'm going with this is, had Kevin signed this in some way, shape, or form, even though I made a mistake, people would still be able to find where it is. As it is now, there's no way to find out other than like maybe guessing the style, but he doesn't typically do comic book covers, so it would be very difficult. So I don't want to belabor the point, but if you're an artist, choose a name, your studio name, a pseudonym, whatever it is, that doesn't matter. Stick to it. Be consistent across social media. When you introduce yourself, if your name is Mike, but you're going by Angel One, don't say, hey, it's me, Mike. Say, hey, it's Angel One, also known as Mike. Or, hey, it's Mike, also known as Angel One. At least keep it in there somewhere. Maybe you don't want people calling you Angel One at a whatever, but like you need to let people know who you are. And the same thing if you have like a business card or anything, whatever your branding is needs to be across all of that. And if you do a piece of work for someone else or yourself, sign it in some way, shape, or form. Now, there might be outliers or reasons you don't want to do this, and I don't know what they are, but I'm not looking to argue with people. Like if you have some real reason or some artistic statement of why you don't want to do it, fine. But if you want people to be able to find you, it's a good thing. And here's the other thing. I've had people contact me through some social media, like an Instagram message or whatever, and I don't know who they are because it'll be a picture of like a cat or an anime character, and it'll be like Slate Blaster 74. And they'll be like, oh, hey, I was wondering about whatever. And I'm just like, this is some random, because I get messages from random people and that's fine, but I will treat it as such, as opposed to like, oh, wait, this is someone I met at a convention that I tabled next to, or this is an artist friend of mine that I know online for years, but I know them by their real name or by their artist name, not by this weird Instagram handle. And I've literally had this conversation several times with several people that I somewhat know to some degree, sometimes very well. And it'll take like 2 or 3 messages for me to figure out like, wait, I know them, who are they? And then I have to go on their page. Now, I'm invested because I'm another artist and I'm talking to them. But if it's like a client or someone you're trying to get work from or business, like no one's going to put in that effort, Similarly, and this is really just me, you got to do the right thing. If you're an artist, a working artist, a hobbyist, someone just does some art for fun, doesn't matter. But if you're like trying to get work, you're trying to be identified as a professional artist and you have an Instagram or whatever, it's fine to occasionally put a picture up of your cat or a toy or whatever. I do that myself. And this is something, again, all this stuff is stuff I'm working on myself over time. And so I'm like telling you to tell me, have more art than anything else. When I get someone to follow me and I don't know who they are, I'll look at their page and 9 times out of 10, I don't follow them back because I don't want to be following a million people. And generally I just sort of follow other artists back. But and this person might be an artist, but if it's like a video game picture and a meme and a toy and then the picture of them at the theme park, blah, blah, and like the first like 9 pictures has no art or one piece of art, I'm probably not gonna follow them because I'm not, Facebook is where I follow my friends and family and social stuff. I'm not looking to follow people on other social media, like just for their personal life. I mean, again, that seeps in a little bit, of course, but I want to see art. And if I don't see the art, I'm like, oh, well, they're not a professional artist or they're not, that's not their main thing, which is fine. I'm not criticizing that, but that's just who I'm looking for. So a lot of this advice is if you want to be a professional artist, if you want to be working, if you want to be selling your art, if you want to be seen as an artist, and there's probably more I could go into, but again, I don't want to belabor the point. If you have suggestions of ways to present yourself or branding or whatever, and again, I'm not even saying like aim for this demographic or make sure you're doing this. I'm not even saying about how to advertise yourself or anything like that. I'm just saying if you want to be able to be found and be clearly understood who you are, this is a good idea. And it's a lesson that I have never been great at, but I've been getting better. But again, some people are just terrible at. And you get some idiot publisher like me, forgets to put your name on it, you're protecting yourself against idiots like me. So I just call myself a publisher, which is technically accurate, but I only put out my own book. Yeah, that's it for this week. That's it for this week. I'm Gazbot. Take it easy. Thanks. Bye. Oh, test. Let's test. I'm testing over here. Is it working? I'm way over here. Let's find out when I get closer. Hi, what's up?